What's going on, everybody? Dylan Napoleone with Cage Side Press, joined today by a former Division One wrestler, a Team USA wrestling world champion, and the current LFA lightweight world champion, Richie Savage Lewis. Richie, how are you, man? And thank you for the time, bro.
Course, man, I'm good. I'm just blessed. We're 2 days out from weigh-ins, 3 days out from the fight. I'm in prime shape and just going through I like to travel by myself, uh, a day earlier than everyone else, so I can get acclimated, not just to the new climate and stuff in the arena, but also so I could mentally prepare myself because this fight game is very hard, and you got to ask yourself a lot of questions about self-mastery and every time you fight, you have a million questions in your head, and I like to train my mind and remove self doubt and yeah, really explore that part of me. So I enjoy doing that when I travel.
Is that what you're up to right now, traveling by yourself in the airport?
Yeah, I'm traveling by myself. It's kind of like a ritual for me that I do. I go out a day earlier than my team, and I'm on the plane, and I'm just thinking about all my life choices that led me here, all the work that I have put in, my family, my daughter, my wife, my parents, my career, and I just figure what energy I'm gonna conjure up for the fight that's gonna come out.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Good for you, man. I actually like traveling in solitude too, man. I'm not traveling to fights. I mean, not to fight, but when I go to fights, it's kind of cool just to kind of separate, man, and be on your own, think on your own, you know.
Yeah, and it's a wild game, man. It's a wild game, and there's nothing that I'd rather do. Um, and this is part of it, and I just enjoy the entire process.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, LFA 207 goes to Sioux Falls, South Dakota this Friday night. LFA 207, you're making a title defense. And this is a pretty cool fight right here. For you, how does it feel to be in another main event spot ready to make that title defense?
If I ain't the main event, then I must be the special guest. And we're just obviously on this regional scene where I'm a main event fighter, um, and that's all that I accept. So at this point, it's pretty casual, pretty normal for me. I think the camps are a little bit pull a little bit more out of me because I am preparing for 5 rounds,
Hmm.
but I don't think this fight's gonna take 5 rounds.
And right now, obviously for you, you're currently undefeated 6-0. Friday night would be your seventh professional victory, and you've already accumulated not one but two professional championships, if I'm not mistaken. And it seems as though you're kind of a few steps ahead rather than like the average professional with only six fights. What do you attribute to this early success, and does it feel like maybe you're a step ahead than
Uh, Yeah, man, I think I was a step ahead technically and tactically, and I kind of was a step behind in terms of like experience in the cage. You look at a lot of these guys, I didn't have an amateur career. I just went straight into professional. I've been fighting for almost 4 years now.
yeah?
You think that's a long time, but it really ain't. I just kind of got my bearings these past like probably my last title defense was the first time I was like, okay, I got my bearings. I'm not like extremely nervous. Like I could kind of my fifth fight, I was able to show a little bit of showmanship. And like I said, this journey is all about self mastery. And coming into this fight, I've done a lot of things in my life, and I made a lot of changes, like moving back to Miami and Goat Shed from Kill Cliff and Deerfield Beach, putting myself back in the city, putting myself back in an environment where, I have access to a lot more networking and a lot more money, obviously in Miami and having that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I just feel like I'm a complete athlete coming in here and I know what I'm gonna do. And also like a lot of my fights that I've had in the past, I was definitely like, head and shoulders better than these guys. And I think I'm head and shoulders better than Richie in terms of a technician, but he's a brawler and he comes to fight and he's 10-1. So it's an exciting challenge for me. So it's something that wakes me up in the morning. It's something that gets my heart going. It's something that gets my mind into it because I know it's a challenging fight and I know what I have to do in order to take myself to that next level. So I look forward to displaying my skill set and
Absolutely.
doing just that.
Well said, man. And you mentioned it first, but I feel like this, it's not only as a title fight, but right here we got the battle of the Richies, if you will, man. The lightweight title. What's your analysis on your opponent, Richie Miranda, like, man? What do you think about him as a fighter and what he can bring, to the cage?
I think he's definitely a well-rounded fighter. I think I edge him in all the areas that he's good. I think he's got some power in his hands, but he doesn't throw with power all the time. Um, there's a few things I got to watch for, but not many.
Mhm.
But everyone has their own game plan, and I know he respects me as a fighter. I know he knows I'm well-rounded. He doesn't just think I'm a wrestler. So I think he's throwing his name in the hat and trying to build his career off this win. So he's going to come to fight, but he also knows the level of athlete that I am. So he knows he's going to have to try and make it a fight against me, and that might just lean into my favor.
Yeah,
So
man.
there's a few different routes that I think this fight can go. There's about three different routes, and depending how things like evolve over the next few days and evolve momentarily like in the first round is kind of how I'll see myself guiding towards the options, because
Yeah.
I look at the sport like imagine there's like three windows, right? And what my job is to give my opponent these three options that he has and start to close off these other windows and close off these
Yeah.
other windows. There's only one window open, and when he goes to go to add that one, that's when I shut it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that way of putting it, man. That's good. For you though, you're 6-0 and you said you've been fighting for only 4 years now, so I think it's safe to say you're still young in this MMA career. What does it mean? How does it feel to take on the dogs, man? You're taking on these guys who, have
I
the
take on everybody, bro. I beat Ernesto Rodriguez in my second fight, who's a tough enough champion at
that's what
welterweight.
I
I
mean.
beat Charlie Deco, who's Jorge Masvidal's right hand, right? He's been fighting in PFL. And then I took out Keegan Genrich, who beat Miranda and was the LFA champion. I didn't do this for an easy route, and I did it so I could challenge myself and become the best fighter. So when I do step up to the UFC, I'm going to be ready for that position and ready to climb straight to the title.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mean. I think it's very impressive what you've done. And, like I said, I feel like you're many steps ahead than the average, 6-0 or six fight professional. So props to you, man. It's hustling off the get-go, taking those hard matchups from the get-go and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. I just feel like this is my story. This is Richie Lewis's story, and I'm the one writing it. So I'm gonna write it exactly how I see fit. And at the end of the day, I can look myself in the mirror and be happy with all my decisions. And that kind of gives me a freedom to go out there and fight however I want because win, lose or draw, I know God loves me, and I know the person that I am. And with that freedom, through God's will, I don't think I can lose to another man.
Like I said, man, well spoken, good way to put it. And you mentioned it just a few minutes ago. You made the transition from Kill Cliff over to Goat Shed, and now, once again, you find yourself alongside some killers, some champions, and just quality fighters in general. How have you been enjoying this time over there at Goat Shed?
Man, so I started my career at Go Shed, right?
Bounce back, right? You went back.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like it's kind of always been a home for me, and like those guys, like Roy and Gus, and like even kids that don't fight anymore, Kia, Ryan Cruz is still coming back. Man, those guys were my best friends, and like I built a business, like a clothing company, like there, and it just was like when I left, it was like a little weird because a lot of the team had left, like me, Angel, Landry, Elvin,
Hmm.
and we all left to Killcliff, and it was kind of a weird situation where one of the coaches left too, so I wasn't able to really say bye to my friends properly or bye to Asim, who I've known for a long time. So it just me coming back home just like cleared up a lot of that, and like obviously I keep good relationships with everyone, but there was no conversation that was had, and when I came back, it just felt like I was embraced again as family, and obviously that's important to me. I know I'm gonna be successful wherever I go, so I want to be happy. But to have Awesome as my coach and
Yeah.
have work with guys like Saman, Mango, obviously you saw the fighting nerds in this weekend
Yeah, that was
uh,
dope, man.
training with us, and you guys shot Zabe, Arturo, Credit Combat Champions,
Yeah.
Roy, who's on the Ultimate Fighter. Like you just got a group of young, hungry guys there, and I think like that's what I needed to put myself around. Chris Newborn, he's fighting Takashi Soto.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you got all the we're active, we're hungry, and we're trying to do something different. I mean, I didn't want to do that cookie cutter route, and as you can clearly see, I haven't.
Yeah, no,
So
for sure, bro.
I always make the most unpredictable move on the chessboard. That's kind of like savage style.
Yeah, man. And you said the fighting nerds were in the gym. My UFC was just in Miami this past weekend. Were you out there at the fights? Did you get to go?
I didn't go to the fight just because I didn't want to spend too much energy on other people, but I was in the training room and coach shed and around that energy, and I went to like a full violence event just for 30 minutes to see George Masvidal
Yep.
and those guys at full violence, and that was it. I just
That's
went for
cool
30.
though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've
You
watched the
guys.
fights online, and I was so hyped for the final. Patty
Hmm.
Kimber looked amazing, and
Yeah.
like he's a lightweight in my weight class, but him doing that to Chandler definitely here in my respect. And then I was gonna watch the main event, and then I just fell asleep, man, just because
Yeah.
I gotta prioritize my sleep over anything else, to be honest.
I hear you, man. I hear you. How about when Pereira was in the gym a couple weeks ago when Karate Combat had their event out there in Miami? Were you there that day?
I was competing at Pit Submission, so I had
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
didn't I beat Lance Palmer, two-time PFL champ. I smoked him, so I just when I compete, I stay focused, man.
I hear you. Well, I feel like it's an everyday thing or an every a weekly thing. You guys get some, crazy. I mean, you guys have the names and the champs and everything like that at Go Shed, but someone random always shows up, and it's just like, wow, that guy's
It
like,
ain't random, man, because we're doing things differently. Awesome, planting seeds. He's one of the best marketers on the world in the world.
yeah,
That's why he's taking Karate Combat as president to where it is, and it's on
it's
par to
it's
be a
sick.
bigger promotion than PFL, Bellator, and one. And
Yeah,
not competing with the UFC. So I mean, not only is that guy my coach, but he's also my promoter, and yeah, he's doing great things not only for me, but the team as a whole.
yeah.
We're getting a new facility right now, around 20,000 square feet. Bonk Stadium. It's gonna be
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I worked at one of the Karate Combat events as a videographer, Salt Lake City, the week where Alini Pereira made her debut, and her brother Alex, he fought Khalil Roundtree the week before Salt Lake City, and that was sick, man. To be around a sim and to see how the Karate Combat kind of product is made, it was impressive, bro. It was dope to see that stuff behind the scenes. That's a special organization.
It really is, man. It
Yeah.
really is. If I wasn't gunning for the UFC, I'd consider going with them.
Absolutely. And it's crazy how, they got the star power there now, you know what I mean? And he's done a great job in his time as president, as bringing in some of those people and really building up some of those people. Your teammates, man, they've become, household names from Karate Combat and but I've watched Arturo Vergara for like 4 fights now. I've interviewed him like 3 times. He's a great champion, man.
He is, and I remember when that dude was just trying to get his professional MMA fights down here, and now he's a Karate Combat champion.
Yeah.
Shah Zabe moved here from Pakistan, and didn't have the skills he has now. Of course, he always had the hunger, and he's always been, you know, a fit athlete. But you see what Awesome does to athletes in a very short period of time. That's why when he says we're all homegrown, he's not lying.
Yeah.
If you look at, obviously, I had a bunch of skill development when I was at Killcliff, but you're going to see another big block right now. And I've only been at GoCheck for about 4 months. So
Yeah, it's impressive. One thing I want to ask you, man, having the wrestling background that you do and having so much heavy roots in the wrestling world, how has the wrestling, and I know the wrestling community is tight-knit, wrestling community is special. How has that wrestling community supported you throughout your MMA career? Have you felt the love from those people?
yeah, I have, man, but more so on the media side. When I ended my career, I took fourth on the world team trials. I was 22 when I won the world championship, and I retired from my career pretty early. So I
Yeah.
had like a bittersweet like feeling with wrestling, because I
Mm-hmm.
was so good at it, but I knew I wanted to fight, and I knew if I didn't take time off for my body, I wouldn't be able to fight, and then it just was like a really hard decision. So like when I stepped away from the sport, like I really stepped away from it and like didn't go to the NCAAs, didn't go to anything, didn't even watch wrestling. I just started now. But the support that I feel is more so from like the younger kids winning at the
Yeah.
highest level, like all the young kids, like even young men like Gable, Ramon
Yeah.
Barberino, Carter Starochi. Then you see guys like Nate Desmond, like if you look at the state champions from like the Kennys all the way to the JoJo Burke, like I trained those kids when they were 5 to 6 years old. So I'm feeling it more so now that I'm
That's
like
badass.
6 years removed from the sport. All the guys that are like winning the Olympics and winning state titles and making like cadet world teams and stuff now and want to fight. Those are the guys that are supporting me, and it's cool because wrestling was never really like that. I feel like I was the first person who really broke through that kind of like.
Yeah, man.
Wait, let me see, go back.
1593 services to Colorado Springs.
This fight will now be part of that game. Just so it doesn't break up.
No, you're good, man. I appreciate it.
Like 1593 services to Carl Springs. This fight would now be the partner out of game 12. But I feel like I was the first one to where you could be kind of like from the streets and kind of like buttoned up and it'd be acceptable. Like if you looked at the past kids like Jordan Oliver, who's light skinned,
I was just gonna name drop
tattoos,
him. Yeah.
right? One of my best friends, right? He was only accepted because he was winning multiple national titles, and still it was kind of like a thing, like because he's from the streets, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like, and I feel like when I came in, it was that perfect timing where like the social media blended with like the traditional media, so you were actually able to express yourself, and it was like kind of cool to do things like that, you know?
Yeah,
So I feel like
absolutely.
I really broke that barrier for the younger generation, and especially in wrestling, which is kind of like a uppity how do you do sport, you know?
Yeah, 100%, man. What were your, if you want to go ahead, you got some, you want to add on to it? I thought,
No, no, you're
no, no.
good, man.
I was gonna say, what'd you think about the upset, the Gable Stevenson upset a couple weeks ago, man?
Well, congrats to Wyatt Henderson. Obviously, he's a good person. He represents our country, and he's a hard worker. But obviously, I was rooting for Gable. Gable's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I think he's the greatest wrestler of all time, pound for pound, for sure. My favorite wrestler is Bucevar Satiev, but I think the greatest wrestler of all time is Gable. I mean, I've been trained with everyone in the country and a lot of people around the world, and Gable's by far the best person that I've ever rolled with. And he did what he did so young and kind of been in and out of the sport and still accomplished great feats. I think people don't realize like what he's actually doing
Yeah.
in real time because he's doing it with such grace in and out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, absolutely. That was crazy though. What was it, the last 15 seconds of the match, bro? That was just crazy.
I didn't even watch it. I'm like, oh no, Gable's not losing.
Yeah, I saw some highlights. I wasn't watching live, but one one thing I want to say is I want to go to an NCAA championships, bro. I've never been to one.
I'm going next year to my first one.
Where
Since
do you know where it's gonna be?
no, I have no idea. Maybe St. Louis.
Wherever it is though, you're going?
I'm gonna go because,
That's
bro,
sick.
now that I'm in my fight career and I'm happy with everything that's going on,
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, let me. I
you
love
deserve it.
wrestling
Yeah,
again, yeah, and I'm like teaching it a little bit more and just being more involved in the sport, and
yeah.
that's where I was growing up. I was super involved, and I loved watching fights every weekend. All I did was study and watch film, and then I kind of got into myself where I had to focus on me. What am I doing, you know? And it's not a bad thing, but it just
No.
is was a different thing, you know. And I'm now that I'm ready to step into that next phase, I'm ready to be around wrestling more and be proud of my roots and my heritage and represent American wrestling on the next level.
Oh yeah, man, that's sick. Yeah, one of my buddies is Henry Cejudo's producer, and they were out there at the NCAA championships, bro. That was crazy. He filmed it from like up top, and you know the nosebleeds, just the reaction of the crowd, bro. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that, man.
Was he the one that was sleeping when they got the break
Yeah,
in?
bro, that's my friend, bro. The guy, I don't know.
Damn.
He basically, I called him the next day. He said, he woke up obviously, and he just thought it was Henry, and he kind of just turned over and went to bed, and then something crashed, and that's when he woke up and knew that, something had gotten stolen. It's crazy, bro.
It is wild.
Yeah, man. All right, finishing up here, I got like two or three more questions for you. Obviously, right now, it's one thing at a time. I know that you don't, as a fighter, it's not the best thing to look ahead too much, but have you thought about the fact that, man, like a UFC call could come at any day? And if so, what are some of the things that you've been focused on to make sure that you're prepared for that call when it does come?
You know, the only thing that I can do is prepare myself as best as I can to be ready at all times. And part of that is getting ready to fight guys like Richie Miranda and continuing my legacy at LFA and defending my belt. So really just making the right decisions every day to eat the right food, to keep my
Yeah,
weight down, to train, to, take care of my family, to pray, just making those decisions daily, it kind of compounds and accumulates to where when you do get a call or when you do get a fight like this against Rich Miranda, the answer is yes. And when you do face adversity, you can remove that from your mind and you can go forward with full confidence. I think that's a very important part of this game, and that's a part that I look forward to dealing with now.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to watch the fight, man. It's a great main event. The card is stacked. I was at LFA, I think 204. Yeah, 204 out here in
What are they
Connecticut.
saying? It's the marquee event of the year, right?
Yeah, that's what I've heard so far, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Sioux Falls? Are you
Yeah,
excited?
yeah. I
Yeah.
actually did my first fight in Sioux
Oh,
Falls
wow. Okay.
for LFA. Yeah, and it's at the Sanford Pentagon, and I
Yeah,
went to Sanford. So I mean, like, I just think it's good. G Pack's there. Shout out G Pack, Dave Martin of Martin Advisory Group. I'm not signed with him, but I mean, I've done stuff with him before, and he's a good guy, and it's his back, is his hometown, and so it's always good. I love being in Sioux Falls.
hell yeah, man. Yeah, no, Sioux Falls is sick. I went to a Bellator event out there a couple years ago, and all I remember is the big waterfall, and I remember this one restaurant I went to. It was dope, but the Sanford Pentagon is dope too.
What restaurant?
I don't know, bro. It's some Irish pub, bro. I gotta figure it out.
They got some good ones, man. It's definitely a city where I like hanging out there.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I'd never expected to have so much fun, and bro, the bars out there were like so much different than what they are out here in Connecticut, New York, this area. It was just
Way different,
it
yeah.
took me out of my element, bro. The music in there and everything. I was like, God, where am I?
And people
Um,
interact differently.
yeah, dude, it was way different. And I felt that in South Dakota, or not South Dakota, but Salt Lake City, bro. Salt Lake City
Yeah, yeah,
was
it's very similar, just the
yeah.
Midwest, man.
Yeah, it was fun though. It's different. You're a New Jersey guy. I'm a Connecticut guy. It's different.
A little
Different.
less rough around the edges, you know?
That's it, bro. We did good out there though, man. It was a fun time. If I could ask you one more thing, it's this, Richie. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You said you made your first fight was there. If there's fans in attendance who maybe have never seen you fight before, don't know what to expect. What can they expect from Richie Savage Lewis this Friday night?
They could expect a tactical, well balanced, well rounded athlete, uh, looking to hunt, have an amazing performance, but I'll be hunting the whole time, so you'll see a jaguar in that cage.
This Friday night, LFA 207, Richie Lewis versus Richie Miranda. This is the battle Richies for the lightweight title, man. I appreciate your time. Great interview. Thanks for the time in the airport, bro.